ready to go? We get this door shut. Whenever you're right away. I'm just running the intersection. You're taking care of me.
I thought Rick said he's going to run the sound system for you.
Well, it came to try to get it on.
Did he?
It will come on. So, I mean, he just said, we're all ready.
Okay. You go back after that. Get a little break.
All right, folks. Good morning, and we'll convene this public hearing. We'll call it to order. The Budget Committee is present and ready to take input from those who have come to speak. We'll give each of the speakers 3 minutes unless you deem you want more time. I'll give you that option. All right, we might have the first speaker, please.
Sir, you're the first on our list.
I have no comments.
All right, Rennie, thank you. Nice of you to be here. We appreciate you being here. Next.
They're calling me a mouse.
Here's another non-speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to be on this side of the arena. And I'm here just to endorse Heritage Alliance here in Jonesboro, Washington County.
Mr. Wolf, it's not that we don't know who you are, but would you state your name and address, please?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Pat Wolf. I live down on 11E, 2467 Highway 11E, Telford. And as I say, I'm just here to see if you had any questions concerning Heritage Alliance request. I think we, last year had $15,000 in our budget. Of course, we're like everybody else, things have been cut. But I believe the figure's $14,250 that's in the budget now. Just to remind you, we operate with one full-time employee and a couple of part-times. You all asked us to be involved with the Ash Street Courthouse, and I think we're prepared to try to help out with that. We have the responsibility of the Washington County Library that's down in the Jonesboro Visitor Center. We operate the Mobile School. We also have the responsibility of operating in conjunction with the state, the Chester Inn Museum that's down on the first floor there. And we picked up operational responsibilities for the Chucky Depot. We have picked up our activities considerably since we have the archives open down on Main Street. So we're quite proud of the efforts that we try to preserve around Jonesboro and Johnson City and Washington County. We, of course, would be glad to see 15,000 again. I know the times are tough. Does anybody have any questions?
Wolf, thank you for being with us this morning. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
service.
listening. I knew about this yesterday, so you're right. Thank you all. Good to see y'all.
Third person's decided not to speak.
He said you would speak Monday.
Said you speak Monday.
Okay. If there are no other people to appear at the public hearing, then we will conclude that public hearing and take just a couple of minutes, and then we'll begin our budget meeting. Yeah, you did a fantastic job. That was super organized. We'll put up here. One person. Morning.
Hey, man. Come over here. She wants to trade. She wants to trade.
Yeah.
I've volunteered a lot of people. But yet I don't worry. I just keep quiet and we don't pass. Huh? That's all right. I'm glad you're paying.
He's supposed to be watching me, what are you talking about?
And they said, so we're thinking it's gonna be very hard.
All right, let's get our budget committee meeting going. This is budget committee meeting of Friday, June the 19th. We will, looking around, we have a forum of the committee. I'd like to open the meeting with prayer, if you would just join me, please. Father, just thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and do the work of the citizens of Washington County. Thank you for all the blessings that you provide for us on a daily basis and allowing us to live in such a wonderful, safe place. We ask this morning that you provide us wisdom and the ability to do the work of the county, this budget committee, that you watch over us on a daily basis. Lord, we pray all these things in your precious son's name. All right, first item of business is approval of the June 12th and 10th meetings. They were sent out, everybody had a chance to take a look at them. Any additions or corrections to either one of those sets of minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval? We'll just approve them both at the same time. A proper motion for approval from Commissioner Light. Second from Commissioner England. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Those minutes will be approved. We have really two pieces of work in front of us today. One is a list of amendments to the current fiscal year 20 budget that this body can approve. They are on the sheet that is 3 pages. It's sent to you. Are there any questions, changes, or is there a motion for approval? These are basically year-end true-ups. These are lines that this body has the ability to move, and this just keeps us in audit compliance to get to the end of our fiscal year.
Motion to approve as presented.
Proper motion from Commissioner Malone for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there discussion on any of these? Commissioner Malone?
Just one question, and it's a relatively nominal amount, but I may be getting my debits and credits confused, Director Meredith, but just curious, did principal go up or interest go down or vice versa?
It was a flip in the budget. I mean, last year when we established the budget, we actually took a $5,000, if I remember this one the right way, we took a $5,000 principal payment and actually budgeted it into, interest, or the opposite way. That it was, no, it didn't go up, it was just a whip on the budget last year, but principal. And that is on the schedule that you'll be addressing next. Those are amendments that the commission will need to approve.
Other questions or discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving these final budget amendments, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those are approved. The other piece that we have to Director Meredith just spoke about is Exhibit A that will be part of Resolution 20-605 for Monday night's consideration at the full commission. These are items that we approve to move forward to the full commission for. Is there a motion to approve these to move forward to the full commission? Mr. Light has the proper motion to move these items forward to the full commission. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner England. Discussion, questions on any of these? All right, all those in favor of moving these forward to the full commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That moves forward as well. All right, lastly, we have time for any alterations or changes, recommendations for FY21 budget to, before it goes to the full commission Monday night. We had one speaker that addressed Heritage Alliance, otherwise that nobody really had much to recommend to us. Are there any things we would like to amend in the budget today for presentation Monday night? Okay. Is Romney out there? All right. Yeah, for sure. And then we'll, anyway, after that, we'll just, anybody here that needs to address the budget committee for specific items, we'll entertain that as well. Randy, did you have anything you wanted to address in terms of the airport?
No, sir.
Okay.
Just here, if there were any questions, concern or from the county for you.
Great. Appreciate you being here. Come on in.
to talk to you a little bit about his role with environmental court and environmental cleanup. He's on the spot.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Bobby Branson, General Welfare Officer for Washington County. I'm here on behalf of myself and I, that I really need some help out in the field. There's times that I go out in the field, it can be hairy. It's just like being a police officer. You never know what situation you're going to run across. I'm always dealing with people that has a little less than most. Their situations all different. Some just are to the point where they're depressed financially, that they're not strapped to be able to do what they need to do. But the bottom line is there's so much out in Washington County that I would like to be able to take care of that really it's overwhelming. And I'm not able to take care of it. So I'm asking this committee at least to look at maybe possibly get me some help. Any questions?
Questions for Mr. France?
When you, excuse me, when you say help, are you additional employee?
Yes, sir, I am. This employee would be more or less be a full-time employee through, people that call me and, respond to them, helping me do paperwork, be it legal staff. It's overwhelming because I do all the inspections, I do all the verbal work right now, except for orders that the legal team does. But for the most part, it's just mind-boggling. I would say that, just trying to get the information, and sometimes you can take one complaint and it may take you all day just to find the people, paperwork, it's continuous all the time. And I usually average between 300 and 400 complaints a year. Not only that, but cleaning up properties and all that, so it's time.
Understood.
I think he definitely needs a full-time helper. Really do. And if you've ever gone out with him, you understand why somebody needs to be with you in certain situations.
I mean, Mr. Whitler's here today. He's an attorney, and I'm sure you're aware of how much time your paralegal prefers for you to help you to get to court that she's on. Well, that's my problem is I can't do the clerical, and I can't do the inspections, and I can't answer to the people every day because it's overwhelming, and I've got more than I can. So that's just using what you do as an example. That's the person I need to help me.
When we're going to environmental court, are you taking some of those cases to court on your own? I assume not. Assume not. The attorney's going.
Yes, sir.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking, Bobby, is that we really need to be doing this, looking at the whole situation with our environmental inspections, environmental court, and looking at, how do we get, I'm not necessarily disagreeing that you need help, and I think somebody, there ought to be, if not every time you go out, at least when you need somebody, we need to have somebody that's available.
Right.
But I just don't know that I'm at a point yet where I think that I have a good idea how we need to handle that. Because I really see those as two separate, they're definitely two separate functions. Whether one person does them or we divide that in dealing with the paperwork side of it and the telephone side of it. And then somebody to be there for inspections. Because if we use the same person for that,
Right.
then if somebody's on inspections with you, they're obviously not going to be dealing with the telephone or people coming to the office or paperwork at that point. So I'm not sure whether we need to look at dividing that response, coming up with some way that we've got somebody either with you or available to be with you, and then somebody else that's helping with some of that other.
Well, I've been thinking about this long part. If I had the person help me in the office where she could answer the phone, this person kind of gets involved with, you know, who I'm dealing with. I don't care to go out and do inspections. The cases that's prepared for court, I do have to go out and inspect those properties. Now, sometimes I run into situations that's a little bit on the higher side that I don't want to get involved in because well, my reputation's on the line and I don't want to get in trouble. So I do ask the lady or me, or one of the staff over there every now and then, if they ain't busy, they would go out there with me. But with this person, they will be able to go out just periodically with me to do inspections for court. It's not all the time, because in the meantime, they're gonna have to do paperwork, get all this stuff together. You would, like this week, I had 5 complaints in one day. 3 of them is out of town, 2 of them in California. The owners are. So it takes time for me to get all that stuff together, and of course, you gotta allow time for them to be able to respond. It's not like I can just go out there and take their call.
How often do you think you need somebody to go with you on inspections? Does that happen once a week, once a
Well,
month?
at one time, Larry McKinney was deceased now. He was my right-hand man, he went on all the inspections with me.
So, well, all right, I just understood you a minute ago to say that it wouldn't have to be all the time on all the
It's
inspections.
not, every situation's a
Well,
little.
how often would you say you need somebody to go with you?
If I had 15 complaints in a week's time, I'd say about 8 of them.
So roughly half.
Yeah. But then again, I just go out, introduce myself, I try to treat these people with respect. And, I, like I say, my dealings is with the clerical side. Because in the meantime, this person could actually do the clerical work, get the files ready. 2 days prior, go to our legal staff and appear in court. Because I have to meet with the county attorney. So, they'll be doing a lot. They'll be a lot.
But you don't know till you get there what the situation will be.
They said times, and sometimes I'll do a drive-by, just see how bad it is. And then I just go ahead and do it, because I really don't have no choice.
So are you suggesting he may need somebody with him all the time?
Well, whenever he needs, when he feels like he needs someone that might be with him.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying
So
about
if
that.
something happens, he does need a witness.
My question would be, if, like you say, you're doing a drive-by, and if you feel like before I make this inspection, I need backup, would it be possible to have a sheriff's deputy to accompany you on this, just for,
At times, I have to use the sheriff's department,
that's what I was thinking.
especially when they're supposedly, been in jail or something like that, just got out for it. Sometimes I do.
If you got enough information beforehand, that would
But understand that when I get a complaint, 90% of it's anonymous, so I don't know where I'm going.
And that's why I was asking, if you do a drive-by, and you're like, you know, I think I might need some backup.
Right. And they usually I'll call sheriff's department.
I may take this backwards a moment if I may, just to help me. If I understand correctly, your role and title, and thank you for your service to our county, but your role is general welfare officer? Certainly, I know it to be, okay, Mr. France helps with these environmental cleanups and when we get complaints about a particular property that is unkept. But general welfare officer, what all does that encompass? I'm assuming you do more than just that, I suppose.
I deal with people with complaints, buried property. I have dealt with that land. Because the county has to clean them up. And, like I say, there's so many different things that, I mean, all those situations.
It's a broad spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I have another question in a moment, and this may be an idea, and I think we're all just throwing out ideas that that may or may not be helpful, and this may be more of a question for our mayor, but I know, Mayor, as I've entered the courthouse, I've got my temperature checked several times by a non-Washington County employee that was employed with a security firm. I just wonder, and this doesn't maybe address the clerical piece, but I just wonder in terms of those instances, which it sounds like it's maybe roughly half the time, I just wonder if there's a scenario where in those instances where Mr. France thought, I'm a little concerned about this one, I want some backup, I want a witness. I just wonder if rather than having another employee on the payroll, if we could use an independent contractor like the security firm to go with Mr. France. And I don't know how we pay them by the day, pay them by the hour. But in that scenario, we use them when we need them, and when we don't, they're not on the payroll. That's an idea, maybe an option. So that's something we can explore into the future, I suppose. And I do think we need to sit down collectively. We were kind of on this path, and then the pandemic happened. We were kind of on the path of talking about the larger picture of the process, but I'm curious of your perspective and what you might recommend, because in my short tenure on the commission, what I've seen is what we spent on environmental cleanups has just escalated. It's grown far more than almost any other area of the budget. Now, meth labs that have to be cleaned up, et cetera, those are the reasons. But so I started asking the question, okay, we go to court to be able to, one, clean them up, and then two, to collect. But we don't, the county is not a collection agency, and nobody really works these. What would you recommend about the collection piece? We had a proposal before the county back 4 or 5 months ago about changing how we would try to collect those. And we're not trying to run anybody out of the house where they're living, but as you mentioned, a lot of these properties are unoccupied. They're owned by people that live in California. But do you have any ideas about how we better recoup the expense of the environmental cleanup? Because think about it, if we could better recoup the expense we're spending, that would give us more money that might be available to hire a person to assist you. But right now, it just seems like a big old black hole where we spend money and we rarely ever get it back, or it may take years and years and years before we recoup on this specific expense to clean up a particular property. Any thoughts or ideas?
Well, after being with the county for 20 years, and this is all I've done for the county, the way I look at that, I'm not in the collection department either, and a lot of these people that don't clean up their properties, they're usually financially stressed, so they either choose to buy the medication or mow their yard.
But in some instances, the medication, and I'm perhaps being facetious and sarcastic, but in some instances, that medication is not prescription based, it's methamphetamine, so.
I'm judging.
I know.
But I don't care to go out and do this. That's not the issue. My issue is clerical. The only time this person would actually go out would be prior to court, if needed. Now, there's some place, why would I take anybody who's, their place is abandoned, they're not doing anything, but they still live there? But yeah, that's the ones that makes it cool. That's the ones that can't be changed.
So the collection piece, I know you said you're not kind of in the collection business, but any ideas about how better to collect?
I think Mr. Wheeler was on the right path. I don't have anything to do with
Thank you.
One question on the clerical. You were working along when we were using the outside long-term, and you were getting support from them. Was that working well?
Yes. Me and Ms. Johnson, Ms. Thomas, we did work well together. She was helping me as far as like a professional letter. If I thought that maybe I could get a little bit more out of somebody, yes, I would use Thomas letterhead. If it was the same letter that I did, They say where it's in the terms.
I understand, dealing with that, Joe's right, understand that. So, but the support, the clerical support that you're looking for now, you were getting through the outside attorney, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and that's,
I mean, needless to say, they did orders and citations. I do my own letters to the individuals,
unless you needed,
and
coming
unless
from
they need a strong arm.
All right. I think that's all.
And, you know, the biggest thing is, there's so much research you have to do, trying to find people. They buy the properties here, they live here. And you just research until you find people in Michigan, owns a piece of property over here on New Hope, the family double wide road that they inherit, they don't want to do nothing.
And since, I guess, we've had this interim period where we're working, trying to determine how we're gonna do this. So you may not have had, probably had the need still, but you're still dealing with properties, right?
Oh, yes.
We're just not dealing much with court right now because we're trying to figure out how we're gonna move forward with the collections that Mr.
Collections, the source of court, you know, it's kind of slow right now for me, because we got some.
with the virus and whatnot, we got you. So really what we're doing is trying to look at getting the support that you had before, figuring out how we're gonna handle that. But the level of support you had before is what we're really looking for. But, okay. All right. Thank you.
Bobby, you've done a great job, and thank you for your service, and appreciate you being here this morning. I think, obviously, this is a complex issue, and we've worked on it off and on, really for the past year, and, we haven't solved it yet. But I think this is a lot of information this morning, and thank you for sharing that. And we need to just pull back together and put a plan together, both to support his effort and to, figure out a way to move forward that we can afford and wrap this thing around, because as Commissioner Mullane said, we do spend a lot of money cleaning up environmental sites, but, that's not the total cost. There's the amount of effort and time it takes to get in court, Bobby's salary, maybe some more salaries involved, the vehicle. So, we do have a lot that goes around it, so we'll come back together and we'll work out a plan.
Well, let me go on and say that at one time, there was actually 5 people doing these ones in their control. That was Mike Rutherford, Larry McKinney, Tom City, myself, and Patty Johnson. And it's just down to legal now. Yes, I do have legal staff. We really not got to jail yet, but they've got plenty to do without the environmental court, because they've always had plenty to do. So, needless to say, just need help.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the budget committee today before we wrap up and get full commission Monday night? Chief,
Sir?
welcome, thanks for being here.
Just had a couple of quick things on the budget that was sent to us on the 15th. Our salary line items don't, the 2% doesn't add up. It's not, they're not increasing those at 2%. Can you
You want me
explain?
to answer that? I had that question from our Brenda. There's two, if you'll do the math, when you do this math on it, it works. There's 262
Is
days.
this speech math or?
No, this is,
This is calendar math.
this is calendar math. That explains it. 262 days in the current fiscal year. There will be 261 fiscal days next year. That's what we budget on. We've got a budget for those work days. So if you take your prior year budget, divide it by 262, multiply it times 1.02, which is a 2% increase, then multiply that times 261, we'll come up with.
But we didn't do it that way last year.
We did, and that's why we're short on some of these line items a little bit. In some of the other departments, not yours, in some of the other departments, we're.
Seems like to be more short doing it this way than just putting the 2%.
It
Because
does,
between both of our budgets, between sheriff and jail, it's $65,000 less.
you've got a lot of salary dollars up there. When you do that math, when you do that math, that's the way that we're gonna work out.
But it's 65,000 less to us.
Correct, because there's 260, your total salaries are what, 10, 12 million? I mean, we could do the math. You'll see that delta's
The
going to be.
reason that
a big
matters
number.
to the sheriff's office is because I don't budget overtime. We use slippage, we've always used every penny we've had, to pay overtime. Almost $400,000 in overtime last year. So, every dollar counts for us.
I get it. I understand that. But the math, I mean, to take a 2% raise from last year to 2021 is the way you get it. And that's how the
That's
math
new,
works.
that's new this year.
Ms. Webb did that forever.
We didn't do it last year, you added 2% to our line.
You're right, you're correct. You're correct, so it probably shorted you a little bit this year, last year.
I don't see how it shorts us much.
Well, if we
Adding
took
two-
the, if we took the
if
year,
you-
if we
okay,
took the year.
For example, let me
Well,
say this, 2% for the sheriff's 106 line item, which is one of our largest, almost $3 million.
Uh-huh.
Your calculation gives us 46,700. 2% is $57,888.
Okay.
So how are you shorting us? Shorting us now?
No,
Not shorting
last year going into 2020, you probably got shorted because there were more days in 2020 than there were in the year before.
But
And
you
so,
didn't
but
do
we
it
only
based
added
on
the
days
2%.
last year.
Pardon me?
You didn't do it based on days last year. The 2% more than covers
That's
the
why you
days.
got shorted though.
No, I'm saying the 2% more than covers the days in the
If
year.
there were more days last year, this current fiscal year, and he didn't do the days, then you got shorted this year.
How many more days were there last year?
Last year, there were less days in 2019. There were either 260 or 261. In 2020, there are 262 work days. And in 2021, there are 261.
Which is 1 day difference.
1 day difference this year, 2 days difference last year. And that equates to $65,000 in your, so it's about $130,000 that was short last year. If you use, I mean, that math makes sense. And that would, if you got fewer days in 2019 than you did in this year, then you got shorted this past year, or your budget was short this past year. Wasn't it? I would take issue with the idea it was shorted. Nobody disagreed with that. But it was, the impact would be last year that you had lower budget per day than you did the year before. This year, you're having.
I'll do the numbers from last year and this year, but I don't see that.
But that, I mean, I made a special effort to make sure that that's what we were doing. And not just taking 2% and applying that to a year that had 260 work days in it, to a year that has 261, because that creates an artificial increase over 2%.
But we need to be sure in a year like last year, when you have more days the following year, that we calculated this way so that we're covering all the work days. It makes sense to cover the work days, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, it's just a different way than we've ever done it before, and nobody said anything to us about
Well,
doing it that way.
I don't want to let that discrepancy go by. You just said that it had been done that way for years, and last year was the outlier. You're suggesting last year was the outlier, and that makes a big difference. I mean, is that true that we haven't done it that way in the past, or that we did? Or did
No,
Ms. Webb do it?
Ms. Webb had always adjusted the budgets based on the number of days.
My vote
Now,
is-
this goes back 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, most years are,
But it would be bigger than last year. You're saying it's never.
No, I'm
been
just
done.
saying, last year, and the years prior, whatever the commission gave us, the line item was increased by that percentage.
So you're saying that Bobby did not do it that way with that?
I'm not saying she didn't, but it always equaled out to 2%. Or this year it's not. I don't know what the discrepancy is, but I don't think last year. When I, the numbers stood, it was 2% last year.
But, and I think you're in agreement on last year, but you're saying that that did not happen in years before, but I think you're also saying you're not sure about that.
No, I'm saying the years before, whatever you gave us, each line item was increased by that percentage amount. Does that make sense?
We can go back and look at that.
You know, if we ever get to, like I said before, if we ever get back to a position budgeting process, it'll take out a lot of this, unknownness or, you know, this vagueness, because you'll have positions unfilled and infield positions, but it was just budgeted, that's the way to go.
That would be a huge help, this commission, is go back to that. Huge help.
That's all I have.
Chief, thank you. Is there anyone else? Committee, is there any, are there any remarks, anything we need to wrap up? All right, silence is golden, and I just would declare that the budget committee's work for this year's budget is complete, and we'll just package up and off to the full commission for Monday night, and, you know, on behalf of myself and the citizens of Washington County, thank you for the many hours that you invested in this work over the last, now, 4 months. And we appreciate it very much, and you've done a good work and a nice job putting this together. So,